Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Whew. This is going to be a spicy one today, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody in between. So, before I get into this topic, because I got a lot to say and I got to make sure I get it in time, let's just appreciate that Modern Warfare 3 right there. It is a, correct me if I'm wrong, Call of Duty is a $1 billion franchise, right? Can't get the ADS visuals on screen to look right in the loading screen. $1 billion franchise, can't get that to look right. It's a little bit embarrassing. Just wanted to throw that out there. So you probably understand the tone of this video just by me saying that. So, supply drops and battle passes. We are going to be talking about both today. Now, when I initially conceptualized the way I was going to go about this video, my thought was basically to just bitch about supply drops for a while, bitch about battle passes for a while, explain my pluses and minuses and everything in between, and then come to an overall consensus. Although I have a pretty extensive list on both sides, and I think it would be unfair to the folks that want to hear my thoughts on each to wait, 2/3 of the video in order for me to start talking about it. So I'm going to go 1 point on one side, 1 point on the other side, compare and contrast each point, and then continue in that fashion throughout the rest of this video. For anybody that is curious, this is an MCW class setup that I am using. I really think I'm finalizing on the attachments on what I'm using here. It's a really good setup. You also probably noticed that I'm not using an optic, and in my previous videos I say that the iron sights in this game are absolutely horrendous. This one, I'm starting to get used to it, you know what I mean? Maybe there's some other guns that I need to tamper with a little bit more, but at least on the MCW, I'm able to take that optic off and be able to apply something else in order to have a better class setup. As far as perks go, I really do think that this is the holy grail as far as perks go. You don't really need legals and tacticals in free-for-all, in my honest opinion, as I blow up from one, but I genuinely don't think that you need them. I think the portable radar is more than sufficient, and you just got to stay with your gun skill, and you'll do great in free-for-all. So that is definitely the perk setup and the CCT vest that I would run as well, so you have that extra perk slot in your perk 3. Moving on to the topic, here we go. So, like I said, I'm going to say supply drops, then battle passes, give you my thoughts on each, and then move to the next point. So, number 1, supply drops. I've spent a lot of money, and I mean a lot of money on supply drops. I'd probably say in total, I'm probably not 1,000, but I'm close. And just to give you a quick comparison, as far as which game of supply drops I am referring to, I am typically going to be talking about Black Ops 3 for the primary in this video. I'm going to be comparing that to this Call of Duty's Battle Pass, just because I didn't really do supply drops in other games. I did it a little bit, but as far as which one I experienced the most, Black Ops 3 is going to be my supply drop comparison, and Battle Pass comparison is going to be Modern Warfare 3 that we're playing now. Okay, so I've spent a lot of money in Black Ops 3, like I said. Battle Passes. I think if you play the game for many years, I could argue you could spend the same amount of money. Just because the way battle passes operate, instead of it being a one-time purchase and you spin a slot machine, because basically, supply drops is gambling, with battle passes, you do know what you're getting, you do know what you're actually going to be unlocking, but the difference is you are basically paying up front and then you're grinding and paying hours and hours and hours to get what you would like. And again, I see this as almost like a monthly subscription. Think of it as like Netflix or maybe even Hulu. You pay for this subscription, then you catch up on all the shows that you want before your subscription runs out. If you only wanted to pay for 1 month, for example, try to see it in that regard. And then you can only afford it maybe 3 months out of the year. So you buy it on month 1, you buy it on month 4, you buy it on month 8, and you try to binge all your shows as fast as you can. That's how battle passes feel to me. Comparing both aspects, I think they're both money grabs, obviously. I genuinely don't think that it is a healthy way to treat your player base. I think that there's many ways that you can maximize your monetization that isn't going to necessarily piss off your entire player base so that no one plays your game anymore. Just a thought. Going back to supply drops, Advanced Warfare was the game that initially introduced them, although the difference was, with Advanced Warfare, they made it clear that everything that you wanted in that game was in a supply drop, and you had to either grind 1,000,000 hours to get it, or you had to pay thousands of dollars to obtain it. And the worst part is you could spend thousands of dollars and not even obtain the weapon that you're looking for. Nuts. The fact that that even was legally allowed to be put into a video game, in my honest opinion. Comparing that back to battle passes, like I said, at least you know what you're going to get. At least you know what you're going to be unlocking. which does help, but again, I still think the amount of time that you need to put in order to unlock those things versus back in the day when you could just get max prestige, you would have everything in the game no matter what. Now you got to play for many, many years to come for the guns that are releasing for a limited time only, because it's impossible to get something that has already been previously released, which is another problem with battle passes, is once something is released, it's gone for good. You can never get it again. Comparing both of those points, I still think that both of them are a time and money waster. They're doing whatever they can in order to make you play the game as much as possible, enjoy it the least amount possible, because we have skill-based matchmaking here, which literally makes everybody want to jump off a fucking bridge with a bungee cord, of course. You know, don't want to promote suicide here in this video, but it's still astronomically wild to me that companies literally only care about what is in our back pockets, what is in our bank accounts, and they don't give a shit about the time you spend. They don't care about how good the quality of the time you spend, and that's about it. Going back to supply drops here, the fact that it's a random outcome, and the other aspect of it being a random outcome is if you were to earn, so in Black Ops 3, they later introduced, once they started adding weapons into the game, or into the supply drops, a lot of folks got really pissed because at first they didn't, and then they added it later, even though they said they were never going to add that later. Thanks, Activision. Really appreciate looking out for the players' morale here. But when they added the guns into the supply drops, they added these contracts in order to supplement, called triple played contracts. If anyone remembers what triple played contracts was and how hard it was to get 100 fucking wins to get, I think it was 10 supply drop openings, like rare ones, and then a guaranteed melee and a guaranteed weapon, I believe. And I believe at least there was a safeguard with the weapon and the gun that you would never get a duplicate on that. You can get duplicates of other things like calling cards and emblems and stickers and things like that, but you could never get a duplicate of a weapon or a melee gun. Or sorry, a weapon or a melee weapon. Going back to battle passes, again, at least with the guns that are in the battle passes, like I said, if you unlock them, you have them forever. You know what you need to grind for in order to unlock it. And they also add some other pieces into the battle pass that I would argue are like very, very expensive. Those being, for example, when you're trying to get Radiant Knight in Valorant. I'm going to use Valorant as an example, as that's a game I grinded a lot of battle passes in. Radiant Knight, if you were to purchase it straight up, is like $56 for like 80 Radiant Knight, which, to give you context, you get about 130 to 150 Radiant Knight from a battle pass if you grind it. So there at least is a little bit of value there, rather than, you know, if you're putting all this time in, you're not really getting, for lack of a better term, bang for your buck. And battle passes in Valorant only costed $10 versus the Radiant Knight, like I said, costing like 60. Moral of it, I think as far as what you get from battle passes versus what you get from supply drops, I think when you unlock something in a supply drop, it's like, literally, like I said, it's like gambling. It's like hitting the lottery. It's like you are on cloud 9.
I'm not going to get any weapons. I got 5 left to go. This was a complete and total rip-off. Ooh! Ooh, I got the FAMAS, baby! Yes!
When you get what you need or get what you want from a supply drop. Now, when you get what you want or get what you need from a battle pass item, again, you already knew that you were going to unlock it eventually, so it's more or less just kind of like, okay, cool, I got what I was looking for, move on to the next one. That inflated adrenaline rush is definitely nullified quite a bit. Now, I do think long-term mental health, it's probably better to be doing a battle pass versus a supply drops, but either way, both have their negative connotations to them. Back to supply drops. Another thing that I have noticed is the amount of video coverage there was on supply drops. The amount of fucking YouTubers that posted like 1,000 Liquid Divinium opens or 1,000 like supply drop openings or spent $10,000 in Black Ops 3. This is what I got. The amount of videos that I saw, it almost promoted spending money to add another layer to it that was just like astronomically wild to me.
We have we have a lot of Call of Duty points that we're gonna be spending today.
Comparing it to battle passes, that does not happen. You don't have folks promoting how much money I spent to finish the battle pass. You do have some creators that buy the battle passes straight out in order to be able to have the content day one. There are some that do that, but it's far and few between, and it doesn't happen nearly as often, and it's not glorified by the YouTube algorithm either. So I think overall, comparing the two, I do think Battle Passes, like I said, for the player is a little bit of a healthier option. My whole point on all this, I do think that Battle Passes are a little bit more fair, but supply drops are still going to be coming back in Call of Duty 2024. And this is why I wanted to make this video, to explain to you guys, watch the fuck out, because we're going back to the supply drop system from what it's looking like, and I don't know if I'm ready. I hope you are, but I'm not.